Good evening and welcome to the second edition of Open House Re-envisioned. This evening we're going to take a look at education in the intermediate years, the 4, 5, and 6 transition. I think of it as the time when children really begin to show a different side of their personalities. They become more outspoken. You realize that they're no longer babies, and a huge difference in terms of how they move from kindergarten to 4th grade, etc. I started to think about this evolution because several years ago I was on the stage in actually a high school graduation, and one of the girls stopped, a young woman, she's 18, and said, "What now, Dr. Davis?" I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I've been with you for the past 12 years. I started in kindergarten. I remember when you opened this school, and now I'm graduating." And what I thought about is not only that she grew up with us, that she went from a 5-year-old to an 18-year-old young woman, but the fact that, in a sense, we had complete ownership. Wherever she's going, whatever she's going to do is a reflection of the education that she had under our supervision. And so when I look at the children, when I analyze test scores, I'm always looking at how long have they been with us, because I also think that if we provide consistent education and they're in the same structure, the same dynamic over time, I think it results in a stronger educational platform. And so, food for thought, food for thought. But the middle schools have some very unique personalities. First of all, the principal of the SALC, Dr. Morgan, this is his 3rd year with us. He comes to us from Chicago. We actually gave him some encouragement to make a change. You know, we monitor what goes on in other districts, and every year in the Chicago Public Schools, Dr. Morgan's school outperformed all the others. It doesn't matter what was going on in the city, the dynamic of the politics. He seemed to be able to take whatever group of children were assigned to him and take them to some of the highest test scores in the city. And so I knew that he knew instruction. He has a unique sense of humor. And when you meet him, you're going to find that. But when Dr. Morgan speaks, because at first I thought he was quiet, he's not quiet, but he does not speak unless he has something to say that's germane to the subject at hand. And so Dr. Morgan is going to do a fine job at the SALC, but he comes with 15 years of experience in Chicago as a principal, and he's bringing all that to us. And so I'm extremely happy about that. At the Indiana, Mr. Howard, and Mr. Howard has been with us for the past 7 years, something you probably don't know. He has a high school background. He comes from Lincoln Way. And when he interviewed, at first, it gave me a little bit of pause. Generally, the two don't meet. High school teachers are very different than the elementary. But I'm so glad that we made that decision. He was assistant principal at the Madison, then the Arcadia, and now, of course, he's principal at the Indiana. We're actually in the process of designing a STEM lab there, which is his vision. And so after we move through the pandemic, obviously, everything is after the pandemic, but there's going to be a new normal. And within that new normal, then you're going to see the strength of the Indiana when we open up the STEM lab and begin to focus on building a model classroom there. What we are thinking about is it becomes kind of our technology science hub. But thank you, Mr. Howard, for this unique idea. And then, of course, at the Illinois, Dr. Shanita Mays. If you've been with us for a while, then you remember when she was there several years ago, and she started a gospel choir. She has a beautiful, beautiful voice. So Dr. Mays has so many qualities that I admire. But I remember when we only sung music within certain parameters because I think we thought that there would be a problem if we sung music that was spiritual or gospel, but she stepped over that line, and when she did, she took the other schools with her. When you're in her presence, ask her if she would give you a few bars. Beautiful, beautiful voice. But then, of course, there's Mrs. Healy also, and you know that the Arcadia is a blue ribbon school. Her area of expertise, particularly in the field of English language arts, is just magnificent. It's just magnificent. If she could decide what she wanted to do each and every day, it was to spend her time in a classroom because that's her joy. But we're going to add a little bit of something that is from outside of our formal structure, and that is we received a video from Pastor Singleton at Victory. And so I think when we put this together, you're going to see what we're missing, and that's children. That's children. When we were filming this, what was missing was the laughter of children. What was missing was their faces. We missed their presence. We missed their involvement. And then all of a sudden I opened my emails and I looked at the video that was sent to me by Victory, and I said, okay, for whatever reason, they sense the need. And this video is about remote learning, blended learning, but it's exactly what we needed to show you how, even though we're not together physically, we can be together in another way because we're part of a collective, and it shows the children and how they're engaging with this concept called remote learning. So please send me an email. You can also respond on the chat. I don't know if you have questions or comments or whatever about the presentation, but the principals and I will be here to answer any questions. We absolutely want you to comment on how you feel about remote education. Remember, we have feelings. We know remote education is not the same as face-to-face, but we do want to hear how this is working. So please take an opportunity to send us a comment. We'll be here in a room together, and if there's a question, we're delighted to answer. Thank you so much for your attention, and please enjoy. Stay safe.
Can you tell me how to do blended or remote learning? Remote learning, blended or remote learning, remote learning.
I don't care what I look like, I don't care what I feel like, I don't care if I'm not dressed from the bottom down. I rub my eyes so I can't look while I open my notebook. Never mind that COVID-19 is currently on the outlook. I'm ready to learn, no matter the term. Ain't gonna let anything get my brains down. You never leave or forsake me, but got to log on remotely.
Tell me how to do blended or remote learning. Remote learning, blended or remote learning. Remote learning.
Welcome to School District 162's virtual open house for school year 2020-2021 grades 4 through 6. I'm Dr. Richard Morgan of the Salk Elementary School. Here we have Mr. Bill Howard from Indiana Elementary School, Ms. Stephanie Healy of Arcadia Elementary School, and Dr. Shernita Mays of Illinois Elementary School. We're here to take you on a journey of our remote learning program and share with you our plan and commitment to helping the students of District 162 achieve academic excellence despite the current pandemic we're challenged with. If you're like me, anytime we head out on a journey, I like to use my GPS, which is something we often use anytime we want to plan and track our destination. Now, a great place to start is with our goals. This is where we'll examine where we are, where we need to be, and just how to get there. We're so glad you've chosen to partner with us to help build that bridge between school and remote learning. When it comes to our school improvement goals, our focus is on each student learning reading and math essential skills. I'm a firm believer that all students can learn and succeed, yet not all on the same day or in the same way. The goals we've set to improve our schools in the year 2020-2021 are to ensure that all students learn by increasing math and reading grade level proficiency. We monitor that proficiency by using Renaissance Star 360 assessments. We also measure proficiency with the IAR Summative Assessment, which is the end-of-year Illinois assessment. Some of the key strategies we put in place to continuously improve and accomplish our goals are to provide core ambitious instruction focused on student learning that meets the individual needs of every student. We do that by addressing particular areas of concern, while at the same time building upon those distinct strengths of each of our students. Now, the district-wide focus is on Common Core skills. So in grades 4 through 6, we'll be emphasizing math fact fluency and not so much learning to read, but more so reading to learn. Instruction is a shared responsibility between all teachers in each of our schools. In order for us to provide that personalized learning, our plan is to scaffold and differentiate instruction using interventions such as pacing, level-guided practice, small group instruction, co-teaching, and technologies such as Google Classroom and Google Meet. Another part of our plan is to foster meaningful, hands-on, critical learning activities in science and social studies that integrate those skills gleaned from reading and mathematics. We also incorporate IAR-type questions throughout the school year and test-taking strategies and accommodations.
One of our main areas of focus is to provide ambitious core instruction focused on student learning. This strategy applies to our goals whether students are learning remotely or in person because it speaks directly to the foundation upon which we are built, teaching and learning. We have crafted our remote learning plan to provide a high-quality education for your child while they participate in a virtual classroom at each of our schools. For this year, we have enhanced our remote learning program to make sure we address the priority skills your child needs to be ready for the next level, and address needs that may have arisen due to the time the students have been out of the school building. These priority skills have been determined by the Illinois State Board of Education, and our teachers have been working diligently, planning to make sure we address those needs. The assessments we use during the course of the year help inform us on the strengths and areas of need for your child. This, in turn, will help guide our lesson planning efforts and also help us identify targeted interventions for our students. Delivery of instruction can include any of the following: face-to-face instruction through Google Meets, video lessons and podcasts, formative assignments through Google Classroom and SchoolWires, threaded discussions through Google Classroom, virtual lab demonstrations via Google Meets and recorded demonstrations for viewing later, hands-on activities that can be completed at home, such as STEM projects, and independent reading, writing, research, and projects such as book clubs. The curriculum that we'll be using at each of our grade levels is the same for each school. So let's begin by taking a look at the reading series, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt HMH, is the reading series utilized for our 4th and 5th grade students. And then Pearson, My Perspectives, is the reading series utilized for our 6th grade students. Both series cover grade-appropriate, nonfiction, and fictional texts to reinforce reading skills, improve reading fluency and comprehension, and to promote academic vocabulary and writing. Through HMH into Reading and My Perspectives, you will see a balanced literacy program featuring guided reading, independent reading, word work, and writing that allow for students to hone their skills in a virtual world. Now, let's turn to mathematics and see what our students are working with. The math curriculum, commonly called EM4, or Everyday Mathematics, for our 4th and 5th graders, focuses on problem-based learning that incorporates rote skills with everyday tasks. The Everyday Math curriculum is not linear, but rather a spiral curriculum, where skills are learned, revisited, and then mastered. Digits from Pearson is our 6th grade math curriculum. Our teachers will use an I do, we do, you do approach to instruction so that students can learn different ways to approach and solve problems before they try them on their own. These programs also use a combination of online resources and paper and pencil experiences. These paper and pencil experiences can be found in the toolkit you received with your device. Much of Everyday Math and Digits curriculum focuses on grade-appropriate mathematical skills, practicing the basic facts and real-world problem solving in the following topics: operations and algebraic thinking, number operations, measurement and data, and geometry. Now, let's talk about our social studies curriculum. My World is where we turn for our social studies curriculum for grades 4 to 6. My World is a grade-appropriate, interactive social studies program where skills are taught through storytelling and reviewing literacy strategies. The lessons allow for engaging students in informational, nonfiction texts, so lessons will often have students use visual organizers on their activity pages to help summarize and consolidate information that they are learning. Social studies lessons emphasize reading skills and require writing. In your toolkits, you received a printed copy of the text. This way, your student can write in and take notes as he or she reads. Now, for our science curriculum, interactive science keeps our students engaged when learning about physical, life, and earth science. It is an engaging, grade-appropriate interactive science program that utilizes the practices in science instruction with an emphasis on STEM. Interactive Science is a next-generation science program that allows students to analyze informational text and become familiar with life, earth, and physical, as well as technology and engineering concepts at their grade level. This program provides videos, simulations, and interactive labs that can be done right from home. In your toolkits, you were also given a printed copy of this text. This way, your student can write in and take notes as he or she reads.
As you would expect, we will always meet the individual needs of each of our students each and every day, all day long. This year, we will do this by providing a plethora of instructional support mechanisms virtually. In English Language Arts, your student will receive extra support from our reading specialists as students navigate fiction and nonfiction texts in preparation for district and state assessments. In mathematics, students will receive master classes to help them solidify their grade level skills and beyond. Because being a well-rounded student is important for critical thinking, we offer the following specials for all students: art, music, physical education, library, and technology. As intermediate scholars, students will also have the opportunity to be a member of the band, choir, and orchestra. These groups will perform at the district's first virtual concerts.
Now let's talk about grading, which is an important part of the monitoring and assessment component. Grades will represent a variety of activities performed by our students. Grades may be determined by such activities as daily work, compositions, projects, homework, reports, oral presentations, weekly quizzes, or tests. Now, performance progress reports are issued regularly by way of Power School to summarize students' performance in skill development and cognitive learning areas. One of the main components of grading are assessments. Now, assessments will be both formative and summative. Formative assessments is the data that we collect through questions, discussions, assignments, journal entry projects, and online check-ins. With formative assessments, teachers will be able to provide feedback to students as well as refine instructional practices to differentiate instructional experiences for every student. When it comes to summative assessments, that's the data that we collect at the end of each chapter or unit. The purpose of summative assessment is to measure individual students' mastery of essential learning targets from throughout the unit. Summative assessments may include written reports, projects, journal entries, exams, and even presentations.
Speaking of assessments, Dr. Morgan, we've got our first one coming up. It's the STAR 360 Benchmark Assessment, which is a series of online diagnostic benchmark assessments that help us gauge the strengths and challenges that students have at a given moment of the school year in the subjects of math and English language arts. The results from STAR 360 help our teachers guide and differentiate instruction so that all students' needs are met. These results will also be shared with each student and family so that our students are able to take ownership and set goals for themselves over the school year. This will also provide families valuable information on how they can assist and support their children from home during our remote learning experience. The schedule for benchmark testing is as follows. Benchmark number 1 is scheduled for September 28th through October 14th remotely. Benchmark number 2 is scheduled for January 27th to February 17th. And benchmark number 3 is scheduled for April 26th through May 13th. As parents, you may be asking, how can I help my child during this time? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are a few things that we are going to ask you to do to make this the best experience possible for our students. Number 1, ensure that your child completes the testing session in a quiet and structured environment. Number 2, encourage your child to do their best, as this provides valuable information to the staff on their big picture instructional direction and how to provide personalized assistance to each of our students. Additional information will be forthcoming on the first benchmark assessment from your individual school. Now, let's talk about attendance. Our school day hours for each one of the buildings is 7:45 to 2:15 Monday through Thursday, and then 7:45 to 1:25 p.m. on Fridays during remote learning. All students are required to participate online every day. Attendance is taken every morning as well as tracked. We do this by monitoring active time spent in Google Classroom, teacher-assigned online programs, student work submissions in Google Classroom, teacher-tracked work time, and teacher and student communication. If your student cannot attend school, call the office and notify the teacher as soon as possible.
So let's talk about social emotional focus. Make each communication count towards establishing strong relationships, working together to ensure students are attending and on time to school. Schools will work to notify parents of any absences as early in the day as possible. We commit to prevent small problems from becoming large problems. Be positive. When students feel happy and safe physically and emotionally, we understand that they engage in school. Use of positive reinforcement is the best strategy. Using real-time data to meet the individual needs of our students. Provide additional support systems. Some students, of course, may need additional support. We commit to working together to provide that support. To ensure a healthy school environment, we have put the following supports in for your student. Second Step is a program that addresses social emotional learning. It gives students the tools to excel in and out of the classroom. It is an easy-to-teach program that garners outstanding reviews from educators who have noticed school-wide improvement and see even the most challenging students make progress in emotional management, situational awareness, and academic achievement. So how does character education fit into the social-emotional learner? A staff member will work with groups of students by focusing on empathy, emotional management, and problem solving. This will be used in classrooms starting in pre-K through 8th grade. Students learn invaluable skills that will help them navigate their way through school as well as their community.
Parents, let me share with you some of the things that you can help us with as we build this bridge between home and school with remote learning. You can begin by helping to design a quality learning environment at home by creating a distraction-free and well-lit workspace that is clean, quiet, and adequately spaced. And you can also help to get your student organized and to keep them organized. We also ask that you help us by having your child to follow a daily plan. That means helping them to keep those bedtime hours and set alarm clocks, know their daily class schedules, and follow up to ensure that your child remains engaged. As you continue to help us, we're asking that you ensure that your child uses the books, websites, links, directions, and resources provided to them. Although we're remote, your child still needs pencils, papers, folders, and headphones. We ask that you please have those available for them. Help us to keep the school-issued Chromebooks charged, connected, and ready to go. Lastly, we ask that you stay connected and check in with teachers and the school using email, phone calls, Class Dojo, or Remind. Our teacher web pages can be found on the school website under the Class tab. Keep your child motivated. You know them better than we do. And together we can keep them encouraged throughout the remote learning experience.
These are helpful tips for parents to remember. Parents, remember, your child is participating in a live classroom. The video camera and microphone will pick up everything going on around your child from your location. Parents, let's talk about the expectation for your student. Students will attend school every day. The school day starts at 7:45. Students must also attend every session. Attendance will be taken. Also, students must keep cameras on while in school.
Another part of student success involves student participation. It starts with being professional and respectful, engaged and committed to learning, and using Google Classroom to submit work and communicate with the teacher.
Part of each student's success will depend upon being prepared each day. Therefore, we ask that students be sure to sit in a distraction-free area. Dress school appropriate. Stay muted until prompted to unmute. And focus on the lesson.
Students, please refrain from the following: eating and drinking online, unless at a designated time. Wearing pajamas, robes, hats, and other headgear. Recording or transmitting sessions. Using cell phones during sessions. And never, ever share your login credentials. Families, please utilize the invaluable resources on our district school wire site and each individual school site. You will find a link to the Technology Open House video and access to the Matson School District 162 Tech Journal. Both resources are there to provide assistance and answer any questions that you may have with the Google Suites platform, the student-issued technology devices, connectivity questions, and any other remote learning questions that you may have.
Welcome back, students.
We're glad you're here.
Woo-hoo!